I'm Joel Yatscoff, the founder and president of Burning Tree Design Inc. I've been designing products and packaging in the Toronto area for the past 15 years in a variety of industries, from consumer housewares to medical products to high-tech and military communications equipment. Got into the cannabis industry about 3 years ago with roles at Tokyo Smoke and Vanderpop, and as well roles at Future State Brands and Prohibited out of LA. Started Burning Tree about 3 years ago to really support cannabis retailers and licensed producers with products and packaging, and offer a turnkey service. So I can come in and design, take your idea from sketch and translate that into product on the shelf, and obviously very familiar with all of the cannabis regulatory framework and requirements in this industry.
Hi, I'm Reuben Menezes, and I'm the marketing manager here at Proto3000. Proto3000 is an end-to-end provider of design, additive manufacturing, and metrology solutions. We actually operate one of the largest 3D printing facilities in Canada. And at our facility, we have the ability to manufacture anything from early stage concepts and prototypes all the way to full manufacturing production runs. So Joel, I've known you for many years now, and I think this project all started from a LinkedIn post that I saw you do. It was around the packaging awards in the cannabis space. And I think your LinkedIn post kind of talked a little bit about the lack of creativity, the lack of just overall design elements in the packaging design. So do you want to talk a little bit about the post and what was going through your mind when you saw the awards come out?
Yeah, as a designer, I'm really cognizant of how objects look and feel and function, and have been working in this industry for the past 3 years. And you look at, you expect to see change, and you expect to see kind of evolution as this industry has grown from having gone from the illegal state to the legal state. The packaging really hasn't kept up, right? I mean, if you go into any cannabis retailer, you look at what licensed producers are putting their product into, and it's a sea of black and white jars and bags and tubes, and nothing stands out at all. I mean, aside from a small logo on a label, it all kind of looks the same. But if you go into a grocery store and you look at any sort of other consumer product, they all stand out through their packaging, right? You look at a Heinz bottle, or you look at the Kikkoman soy sauce bottle, right? These iconic shapes are associated with brands, and that's something we're really lacking in this industry, and I think could do a lot better.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And when you talk about doing better, developing new concepts, going through the ideation phase, that's something that both of us are really good at. When it comes to design, that's your area of expertise. And when it comes to 3D printing, all of a sudden you have a platform where you can take those ideas and concepts and prototype them, feel them, work with them, develop them further. So when I saw that, the lack of creativity, I looked at it as an opportunity. And I think with this particular project, we had the opportunity to see what can be done. Ultimately, the cannabis packaging industry has a lot of restrictions, but with restrictions, there's a lot of room to innovate.
Absolutely. In design, the best results come from the tightest constraints, right? And what we did here with this case study is we applied design thinking and a user-centric kind of focus on products and packaging, combined with the latest in rapid prototyping and rapid manufacturing. I know that it's not easy to do this in a really highly regulated market. We're also a small market generally. Canada isn't a massive country, so for any licensed producer to invest in bespoke packaging, given the amount of production they'd expect to have in a year, it's a lot of money to spend. So what I really love what we did here is kind of leverage the best of both worlds, right? We took what could we do and really push the design envelope for packaging in cannabis, and then how could we leverage a manufacturing tool that isn't so capital intensive, that's something that you can produce 1 or 2 or 50 or 200, on demand essentially.
Joel, can you walk us through your thought process behind the packaging and your ideation phases?
Yeah, it was, when we kicked this off, I really wanted to, select cannabis brands that were doing a good job in the market, at least from a branding perspective, right? If you were to look at the website or their social media feeds, they have established I think a loyal kind of customer base. They've got a well-developed brand and kind of iconography and imagery with that. So, as a case study, we're not obviously working directly with the brands themselves. Don't have access to kind of all of the marketing collateral that maybe has been generated or brand books or logos. So we had to take basically what was available to us, that the public could see. So the 4 brands that we chose, Fireside, Cove, Tantalus, and Soleil, all have really strong branding, I'd say, right, and appeal to different consumer bases as well, right? There are ones that focus more on females and wellness, others that focus more on kind of craft growing, and others that are more about getting together and hanging out with friends. So really wanted to make a selection of brands that kind of encompassed a wide swath of the cannabis sector. From there, took those brands, looked through those social media feeds, the websites, started sketching, trying to figure out what would look really great on shelf behind a display case, developed those sketches into 3D models, exported those into Keyshot, which is a rendering program, applied colors and textures and labeling to that, and then I handed it off to your team at Proto3000 to take that and make that into reality through 3D printing.
Yeah, and those designs were absolutely incredible, and we matched that level of creativity with, some of the most capable 3D printing systems on the market today. We decided to go with PolyJet technology because PolyJet allows you to have full color, different materials. You can actually combine different materials into a single part. So it really gives you the freedom for texturing, for, in this case, labeling and full packaging design. And we were able to print everything all in one shot. So in terms of even turnaround on this project, everything was done really quickly. We printed all of the packages, I think, overnight, and we were able to see the work and finish them a little bit more. And yeah, the final result was actually absolutely stunning. I think the colors and the palettes and the overall design really captured the essence of the brands, and it created, I think, an experience that goes just above and beyond consumption to something that's relatable. That's something that you're proud to take with you and open up in front of friends, in front of family, or whoever it is. So I think the designs came out really well, and I think ultimately the project really showed what can be done for relatively a low amount of money and in a very quick period of time in a very constrained industry, but with a lot of room for innovation. And I think now packaging cannabis companies can look at this and say, hey, are we putting our best foot forward? Are we putting our best packages on display? And if not, what are some ways we can innovate within the space?
Yeah, I really think this is we're really strategic with where we were taking this case study, right? We weren't trying to develop new retail ready packaging that had to be CRSE compliant and meet all of the Health Canada and Bill C-45 regulations. We focused on a very specific part of packaging cannabis in Canada, which is vanity packaging, which is the packages that are used, that are photographed for use on the website, that are used in social feeds, that can be used in retail stores behind display cases. So, those packages don't have as high a threshold from a legal requirement than the retail packages do, right? So we were able to, experiment a bit more, not worry about the closures, not worry about testing per se, although I think honestly all of these could have passed that with flying colors. And they are an area, with, agreed, Reuben, on a small investment, these things make a really big impact. So it does feel like a great place to invest into to really get a lot of bang for your dollar.
So, Joel, why is design important in packaging? And really, why is it important in a corporate strategy?
Yeah, I mean, design is that intersection of the communication between the product and the user, right? And packaging specifically, within cannabis, it is often the first time a consumer actually will tangibly touch that brand, right? It's, we see stuff on Instagram, on Facebook, and we will see stuff behind display cases and make purchase decisions based on these things. But until we actually buy that product and leave the store, the packaging really is the thing that sets the tone for the rest of the experience. So all of the work that's being done by a licensed producer on picking the right cultivars, cultivating those, growing those, harvesting them, drying them, packaging them, all of that work really is for the product that's inside the packaging. And if we don't get the tone right on that opening experience, what it looks like, how it feels in hand, it really kind of does a bit of a disservice to all the work growing that product to begin with, right? So packaging is it is such an important part of this industry because it is a product that is consumed. And so again, that kind of first tangible brand experience is critical to setting the tone for how the consumer experiences that brand and that product generally.
I couldn't agree more. And I think a lot of the principles we work around are very design centric, and companies that are design centric themselves perform better. They perform better in the stock markets. They perform better in terms of sales and revenue and overall growth. So, incorporating design into really everything, not even just packaging, into the product itself, really putting your best product forward, going through ideation, going through the stages of design and making sure that you're vetting it, you're getting all the stakeholder input into it, and you're putting out something that's truly representative of your brand. That helps build businesses, and we see it every day. And I think, you see it out there in the world. A lot of the products we buy on a daily basis, without even knowing, we're probably leaning towards products that have some sort of design impact on us. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. Design is integral to a corporate strategy.
I think generally in industries where there is a lot of competition, design is the thing that can differentiate one company to the other and really sets them apart, and is the thing that, if done really well, really appeals to that consumer. So if you can imagine any of these packages that that we've worked on in a retail store behind a display case for a consumer who comes in, who really doesn't, is perhaps new to the sector, is looking to experiment, is a bit curious, they're going to be drawn to these things behind a display case versus a black bag or a black container, right? It goes without saying. We do judge books by their covers, and I think what we've done here is design really good book covers, right?
What do you see in the cannabis space? Do you see companies transforming their packaging strategy?
I'm really happy to say that we're at the very beginning of this. And, we kicked off this case study when I had put on that, kind of complaining LinkedIn post late last year. There really wasn't anything to speak of. But even in that time, even in the kind of intervening, I think 4 or 5 months, it has started. The hope with this case study is that it would catalyze change in this specific area in vanity packaging for licensed producers. And I'm happy to say that I'm already working with cannabis brands on really bespoke, highly designed, very communicative vanity packaging for this exact reason. So it's starting, and I don't want to be stoke any sort of fears, but the hope was to catalyze change here, and it's starting to happen. And I really think a lot of licensed producers, looking at this area and investing in really well-designed vanity packaging is increasingly going to be important, kind of starting now. So I would encourage everyone to start thinking about this area and investing in it, because I think it's going to be increasingly important.
What's really nice as well is today, our case study was limited to vanity packaging, just in terms of regulations around the materials, limitations in the food safety grade of the materials. But as 3D printing continues to develop, we're going to see food safe packaging being able to be printed right off machines. We're going to be seeing a lot faster technologies, technologies that can do higher volumes more efficiently and more cost effectively. So in tandem, as the cannabis industry explores new avenues for packaging, I think the 3D printing industry will be able to match it with the ability to get that packaging to market quickly and cost effectively.
It is just so flexible, right? You know, from my perspective, being able to design, you know, I know what that timeline looks like, but often that handoff to, you know, production packaging is 4 months, 6 months, 9 months, depending on where it's made, and obviously extremely expensive as a result. It is really, I think, powerful, and it's a really great, you know, tool to leverage when, you know, I can take design files that I have, hand them over to you guys, and, you know, in a day we have, you know, photograph ready, display ready, social feed ready, website ready packaging that can be, you know, turned on, you know, in weeks, not months.
So yeah, if you're a cannabis company out there and you're looking to even just start conceiving a strategy around packaging, and you're kind of fed up with your current packaging, you want to stand out a little bit, I think Joel would be really happy to work with you, and Proto would be really happy to do the 3D prints.
I think it's a great collaboration and great partnership. You know, the shameless plug for me is I've been doing this for 3 years now. I have a really great handle on the cannabis sector generally, the rules and requirements therein, both in Canada and the US. And I really don't, you know, think there's anyone else doing what I do, which is this turnkey product development and sourcing supply chain. So, you know, if you are a licensed producer out there, if you are a new cannabis brand that is looking to differentiate yourself in this increasingly crowded market, please reach out. Happy to have a quick phone call with you to kind of assess whether something like this is a great idea for you. It probably really is. So I'd absolutely love to work with you on bringing your brand to life through bespoke vanity packaging.
I'm going to put some links below in the description section. So if you want to reach out to Joel, there'll be a link to his website below. Joel, thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure working with you on this project. You know, you're the way you think about design, the way you think about just how to create something. It was just incredible to see, and at every stage I was just blown away by what you had created. So it was an absolute pleasure working with you, and I really look forward to the next project.
Well, thank you so much, Reuben, and I echo your sentiments, but the team at Proto3000 was outstanding. You guys have got an amazing amount of resources to leverage and to use, and I'm looking forward to doing this on an ongoing basis.